Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Back for another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Sean, and I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron. And today we are going to be talking about Mike's recommendation, The Doors. So, take us away on this fantastic trip.
This is a fantastic voyage.
I don't know. Yeah. I've never seen this, so I had no preference or knowledge. Jim Morrison was not a good guy.
He's a piece of
Yeah,
shit. He's a huge piece of shit.
I don't really want to turn this into talking ill of the dead, but
No, we could do that.
I have a new perspective on the music of the Doors.
I wouldn't say it's changed my perspective on their music. It has certainly changed my perspective on him, because I barely knew anything about him.
I didn't know anything about him at all. I knew he was a drinker and a partier.
Yeah, but I didn't know to the extent that they portray in the movie. And I'm sure some of the things are embellished. But watching the shit that he does in that movie,
the rest of the leftover band members, they do play a part, I believe, in the making of this movie. So
yes, they play like extra characters.
Right? They're extra characters,
and they have their cameos in there, all except for.
So they're probably, they wouldn't have done that if they didn't agree with.
It's coming from a place of authority.
Yeah.
They would know.
Yes. So it's probably all true, and that's a thing.
Yeah. I think.
Not really going to read a synopsis because, it's just the story, basically Jim Morrison's story.
This movie is about Jim Morrison and his rise and fall and ultimate demise. Spoilers, you all know Jim Morrison's not alive.
Yeah.
His ultimate demise and all that stuff. I said this earlier, and I still stand by it. This movie shouldn't have been called The Doors.
No.
It should have just been called, The Lizard King. The story of Jim Morrison or something like that instead of The Doors, because it really didn't focus on any of the other band members. There was little bits and pieces, which we talked about Bohemian Rhapsody. It wasn't called Queen. It wasn't called Freddie. It was...
And that one would have made more sense to be called Queen or something with Queen.
Yeah, because it did focus a little bit more on the band members, but they didn't want to call it by it. So
I guess that did focus a lot on Freddie, I guess.
Yeah. But with this, it's solely focused on Jim and his fuck-ups and all that.
Yeah. So I will just talk about random points of the movie, I guess, because I don't exactly know how to go about
this. The whole movie's kind of random points.
Yeah. Him following Pam home randomly,
creepily,
and climbing a tree. Is she just okay with it?
The 60s was a different time.
I guess so. Yes,
they were probably both really high on something.
Yeah, he kisses her. She's okay with it. I don't know. Apparently, the shit that she put up with is probably the most crazy part.
Yeah.
That I took away from it.
Which, he's insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I understand.
But she kind of is too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like she had maybe a bipolar kind of thing. She'd be super pissed at him. Yeah. And then just, I'm sorry,
Yeah, and I almost wonder if that's not, some type of Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, yeah, very well.
Because as soon as he would, when he took the knife out of her hand and, was you want a little murder? And, went at her, she immediately, changed her whole demeanor.
Yeah.
Which, you're faced with death right there.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Him locking her in that closet and setting it on fire.
Burning the house down.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah. I was that was...
And then, she goes back to him at the recording studio. It's what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
My takeaway from about Jim Morrison in this movie is he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, definitely definitely maybe gonna change how I talk about the Doors.
Yeah.
Like, not maybe so much.
No, I still like their music. Yeah, I still like their music. I do not like Jim Morrison at all.
Like, with this knowledge in today's society, how...
Oh my god.
Not that I'm behind cancel culture, but, like, how is Jim Morrison not canceled?
We briefly talked about this, too. And we all know Bill Burr brought up, like, a point. Like, it was that time. Like, it was, though.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier. 60s
it was that time.
Yeah.
Like, for him to do half the shit that he did, most people were like, cool, man. You know, just like, that was it. It was the end of it. Now, the way we should look at it is that's not acceptable behavior today.
Yeah.
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
But back when he was alive in the 60s and 70s, that was acceptable for the time.
Drugs were a crazy thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back then. I didn't realize, like, how much the drugs played into... Like, maybe you guys can explain a little better, like... Because I was also really tired when I watched this morning. But, like, the whole Indian thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
So I said to Sean while we were watching this...
I was just lost.
Have you watched Wayne's World 2?
No.
So they parody this in Wayne's World 2.
Okay.
Where Wayne gets led in a dream into the desert by a weird naked Indian man. And is taken into the desert to meet Jim Morrison, who's talking to Sammy Davis Jr. in the middle of the desert. And then Jim Morrison tells him he has to make Wayne stock. He has to, like, get all these bands together and everything. And he has to go to England to find his roadie that... like set up all their concerts and everything. And watching this, I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense that they were parodying it because it came out before they did Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
But no, I was lost on that part.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was just an artistic choice.
I guess so, yeah.
I think it's just like an anchor point in Jim Morrison's life. Like, he's fixated on this accident, I guess, that happened. I mean, I don't even know if this is true, if it's just some made-up thing, but that's the opening of the movie, is they're driving past an accident with, like, all these Navajo that were killed or whatever. And he even says in the one interview, he's like, it's like all their souls were leapt out and then dove into mine. So I think that was just, like, him... I don't know, he has some weird spiritual connection with, like, the Navajo and, like, Indian imagery. I don't know. That seems like a very, like, a driving force behind him or something. Probably because, I mean, he even brings it up with the shaman.
Yeah.
Like, Indian shamans and things like that. So clearly, like, drug usage and, like, the exploration of one's mind is something that I guess Indians or Navajo people do. So, like, that was just, like, his, like, he used that to motivate the making of his music, I guess. Right. So, like, whenever he was, like, losing it later in his life and, like, envisioning them, I'm not exactly sure what that was.
27.
Well, yeah. Or, like, the whole framing of the movie is him recording something. Like, his life stories, I guess. And it's like basically...
spoken word thing.
It's basically him...
Which I wonder if he actually did. I didn't look into that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like him delivering that to the Indian man that he saw who had died.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of like the way that he views death, because he touched on that.
Well, that's why I didn't know if it was like almost I think his vision of the Grim Reaper almost. Like,
yeah, I think that's an inappropriate interpretation of it.
His call home.
Yeah. I think that is valid, because he sees it in times where he's obviously going off the deep end and, really tempting his fate, so to say. I'm not sure if he ever, like, if he was envisioning him whenever he's, like, hanging off of the building or anything like that. But
that stuff, like, I mean, that stuff's got to be true, because, like, why would you even fathom putting that kind of stuff in there?
He clearly had a fixation with death. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we can talk about who plays who in the movie.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer was excellent.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Sometimes I forgot it was Val Kilmer.
Yeah, you just like
it's blended just like into that persona. Yeah,
but like to get in that character, he probably had to get pretty messed up.
Oh yeah, and I mean him being like a method actor. That was probably like and we knew from the documentary that was like a dream that he wanted to do.
Yeah,
he wanted to portray Jim Morrison in a movie. So like he was a driving force to get that thing made.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you could tell that this was definitely a passion project of his. And he does a fantastic job at it.
Yeah.
He does a fantastic job at playing a piece of shit that I've grown to hate after 141 minutes.
It was a rather long movie, too.
Yeah, I saw the runtime. I was like, oh, God.
Oh, no.
Start checking on those before I say things.
Oh, yeah.
So I was really surprised that Meg Ryan plays Pamela. I don't know her to see her. I know she was really big in the 90s. Billy Idol was in this.
Oh, he was the dude with the British accent.
Yeah.
The one that I said is that Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Because he did sound like Jason Statham.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's...
I don't know at what point he pops up. There was a brief period in the movie where I think I fell asleep. But...
it's all right. Us too.
Yeah. Crispin Glover is in this.
Yes, he plays Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were watching it, and Sean goes, is that? And I was like, that's Crispin Glover. And then we were both like, oh my God.
The perfect person to play
him. To play him, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know Crispin Glover is also a weird, very weird man.
Yeah.
And Andrew Warhol's an alien, so...
Yeah. Crispin Glover might be an alien, too.
Crispin Glover, if I had to choose anybody that would be one, it would be him.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I didn't even get that. I don't know if he shows up once. Or...
It's like a 5-minute scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
but
hardly...
you could tell
I
must
have missed it.
You could tell just from hearing the voice that it was Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
That's like another one of Jim's like lower points. He's like zooted off all these drugs at this party at Andy Warhol's mansion, I guess. And all the rest of the doors are like, come on, man, we got a show tomorrow. Let's get out of here. And he's like, no, let's stay, have fun and everything. And he's like completely blitzed. And then they waltz him in front of Andy Warhol and he's like, hey. And then Andy Warhol in the scene just goes on about some nonsense and just like hardly interacts with him. And then I think Jim goes off and has sex with somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't he end up like drinking blood or something like that? Is that?
I don't remember if that's the same scene, but that does happen.
No, I think they like leave the Warhol party and then that scene takes place.
Maybe.
Or she comes and gets him and takes him away. I'm pretty sure she does. I think she comes in and she's like, "All right, Jim, come on, time to go." And then they go drink blood. And... Whew! 60s were weird, man.
Yeah, they were definitely.
She was a witch.
She was a witch.
So
and that leads to that one scene where they was that like a marriage thing?
Yeah, like a marriage.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like he was like proposing to Pam, kind of before that during Thanksgiving, and then after that he does get married to I don't even remember that woman's name. Patricia.
Yeah.
Patricia Keneally or something like that.
Who was a journalist that was like covering him, and then
that one guy at the stadium
covered him.
Yeah.
Where he was like, he must have been like recording into some kind of like little, or maybe he was live broadcast.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. I didn't realize, like, obviously this was way before we were ever born, but I didn't realize that like people had thought that they like sold out or were like past their prime so quickly, I guess. And I don't know if this is part of the movie because I don't know the timeline of songs for the Doors, but like, did they really come out with like Break On Through like first right away?
I don't know if they did. Like, I would assume that they tried to like stick with the real timeline.
Yeah.
Of things.
Because I know there was like with Bohemian Rhapsody, there was a lot of like, well, that didn't happen then.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Which
trust me, I know. I watched it with my dad, and he's like, "That didn't come out till '75." Or whatever. I was like, "Okay, just sit back and enjoy the movie, Dad."
Well, I mean, if I had the knowledge, I would.
Oh yeah,
I would be that picky too. I can't. I can't.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So,
but I think that they would be pretty like well established in the timeline because the final bit of the movie is them releasing Riders in the Storm.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was so late.
Late, apparently.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I imagine that would be accurate.
Yeah.
So I'm unaware.
Yeah, with them putting that in so late, it's got to be the correct timeline. Because, so they must have put that song out and not ever really played it.
Yeah, I guess, because he, like, died a week later.
Yeah, it seems like it was recorded and they were like, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm going to go off to Paris now.
And die.
And, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. He's like, that sounds pretty good for recording it whenever none of us were talking to each other at that time.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to think about, like, a band just, like,
but it happens more often than not.
And just, like, absolutely hating each other.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, creative minds and everything.
Well, and especially in today's world, you could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hell, look at, for example, Junkie XL did, 3 movie scores? All from his own house.
Yeah.
Just, like, making orchestral pieces just on his computer.
Well, that's how most demos are made now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different musical tools that you can program drums or whatever and just make rough demos and then...
Oh, yeah, because Junkie did.
I mean, people can literally record their part at home if they have a home studio.
Yeah, I think Junkie just has, like a program that has all the instruments in it and everything.
Yeah.
I think he did Snyder Cut, GVK, and he did one more, too. But he just did them all from home on his computer. And then, like, sent it off to Warner Brothers, and they're like, cool, thanks. And then they should do it. Like, put it in the movie.
Like, just all instruments?
No sitting in the big studio conducting an orchestra or anything.
Wow. Yeah, no orchestral... the days of the orchestral symphony are dying away.
I hope not. Because I was listening to, like, one of John Williams' things today, and I'm like thinking about like how they produce that and everything. I'm like, there's a magic there that will be lost if
Shang-Chi still used an orchestra, so I don't think that.
I think it's still the way. Like it was just that weird time.
Because when they were doing both those movies, everything was shut down. Yeah. Nobody was going into a recording studio to do a big orchestral recording or anything like that. It was just, hey, this is all we can do.
No room was big enough for an orchestra to be 6 feet apart.
Yeah, to be.
Yeah, and I have the largest auditorium in the world, and it still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. And you also have to have everybody there close to each other. Otherwise, it's gonna sound weird.
Yeah.
You know, if you have the trumpet here, trumpet there, like it's not gonna be the same sound as it would be.
Yeah. So that was a side tangent.
Yeah. Related to the music, which we can touch on that.
Yeah,
Val Kilmer sounded excellent impersonating,
singing as Jim Morrison. Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was really believable.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was him, but I didn't have any other.
I assumed that it was him.
Well, they said it in the documentary.
Yeah,
that he said he wanted to sing his parts.
Okay,
like they didn't want to use previous recordings or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome then. Because it sounded great.
I forget where we were talking about before we led into that.
Just the timeline of the music, I guess, is where we left off. But so one thing that I noticed with movies about music or musicians is sometimes when like the backup band or maybe not a backup band, but the band is playing, like the drummer won't actually be doing what they're doing, or the pianist or whoever. These guys that play the Doors, like spot on. Like, everything that the drummer was doing, he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know if they got actors who played those instruments.
They could.
I assume so. That weird. So the Doors has a unique sound with like the keyboard.
Yeah, still to this day.
So
like nothing.
Organ,
it's like a organ keyboard. So finding somebody that can do that, is pretty impressive.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you could learn.
All keys are basically the same.
Yeah.
Not easy. That's like one of the more difficult instruments, I think.
I love it, but it's hard. It's very hard to play. Especially if you can't read music like me.
Yeah. It's not like
to play by ear and like get the right chords.
It's not like the drums are like a simple beat. Like, there's a lot of different work on, the separate hands. So,
like any art, there's a science to it.
Yeah,
it doesn't just happen.
So I was super impressed that they got him to
it makes it even more believable.
Oh yeah,
just like because you don't want to just see like some guy doing like this in the background, and you're like,
and I've seen it in movies. I'm like, how can you let that go by?
They're like, oh, they're not going to be paying attention to.
I was gonna say, because 90% of the time a studio is like, they're not gonna know.
Yeah,
they'll have no idea.
And most people don't. I just noticed.
There'll be that one drummer in the audience who's like, hey, no.
What bugs me even more is when, like, a band will put out live footage or whatever, and like it doesn't match up with the song. That bugs me even more because it's like, you are musicians, you should pay attention to that stuff. But I'm just,
what, like they're playing, like they're fake playing, or
not even fake playing. Like, it just, they're playing the song
out of sync.
Yeah, it's just like they'll take a shot of the drummer, but it's not like a shot that matches.
They'll move it. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
It just bothers me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm picky.
I need my chronologically accurate timeline.
Yeah, if you're gonna put live footage, make a live video. Yeah, Jim Morrison's a piece of shit. I don't know what else to say.
He is. That's the consensus. Val Kilmer did a great job at playing a piece of shit.
Yeah,
he really did. I wish that they would have got a little bit more into like the confrontation between Jim and the rest of the Doors. Like, you have that one scene when they're recording their album and like they have whatever song it was on the radio, and he's like, you sold it to
the Light My Fire.
Oh yeah,
it was a commercial.
It was a Ford commercial, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, you guys sold this without me? And it's like, well, you weren't around because you're so heavily into drugs.
Yeah.
Like, we had that thing, one for, like 4 Musketeers or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, well, all three of us decided to sell it, and you weren't around, so we sold it for $75,000. And he's like, you're selling a lie to the people now. It's like, they think we're sellouts now. And then you have that other part of it where the one guy's like, they all think that we're drug addicts because of you.
Yeah.
Like, you're so sloppy that they think we're all fucked up.
Yeah. I guess that wasn't probably the norm back then, to sell your song to a commercial.
Especially, like, the message that the Doors were, like, trying to get across. Yeah. They're very anti-establishment and, free-spirited. And that comes across in their songs. So, like, selling out to, like, mega corporations obviously is pretty against, like, their entire idea.
But, you also start to take a look at the way that the times changed and how the rest of the band changed with the times, while Jim was still, like, stuck on taking drugs and doing all the same stuff that he was doing before they got together. And they're like, dude, like, you gotta, like, change with us. You gotta, we have to work together to, like, make the band go. And he's like, nah, man, just, like, pop a couple pills, take a swig of brandy, jump out a window, tell your wife that she'll die for you or whatever. Light the house on fire.
There were parts in the movie that I really liked where they, like, took Jim's ideals and just, like, threw them back in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it was, like, one of their last shows, and it's like, you said that you love pain, but you run from it every chance you get. It's like you're so fake. Yeah. Because he even says that to Pam at the one point. He's like, I lied. I love fame. I love being famous. Yeah. It's like, it's not even about he's like having a dilemma where he's like, they want me, not my song lyrics. But then he's like, but I love fame anyway. You know? So like, clearly that was like a struggle he had inside of him.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't matter because he's a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, because then, like, as she's, like, trying to talk to him about it, he's throwing jars and lamps at her while she's trying to crawl away from him. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, constantly cheating on her, too. And then, near the end of the movie, whenever it's supposed to be, like, he's finally getting his act together, they throw even one more in us. When it's like, he gets Patricia pregnant, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna claim ownership of this baby. I'll fund the abortion if you want it, but if you decide to keep it, consider me cut it completely out of his life. And it's like, wow,
you're on your own if
such a tool.
Yeah.
Which I wonder, did she keep it? I don't know. We never got.
I don't know. She said she was, but who knows?
Yeah. Is there
such a piece of shit?
Yeah, an illegitimate son of Jim Morrison.
Yeah, is there a kid out there?
And is he as crazy as his father?
Well, his dad would have been Jim Morrison, and his mom was a witch, so maybe
he's dead.
I had a point, and I forget what it was.
Maybe he died sitting in a bathtub too.
that the ending there, whenever it was like him dying, Pam seemed almost relieved.
Yeah, she was. She's like, good. Thank God he's dead now.
She was probably so relieved that, or maybe we never got like more on her, like what happened to her.
It said she died 3 years later.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was like.
Well, I'm sure she just had years of also drug abuse, alcohol abuse, trauma, all of that. Yeah. Probably just. Well, he died of heart failure. It said I'm assuming she died of heart failure too. Which I'm sure that much stress and trauma takes its toll on you after a while.
Right. Well, I mean, she looked... obviously they made it up for the movie, but she looked ragged by the end of the movie.
Right.
And she wasn't getting any younger, so...
Yeah, so, like, when I see Jim Morrison pictures now, like...
You want to spit on them?
I'll call it, like, the beard era.
Where he looked like Will Ferrell in Anchorman. He grows out the big hair.
He looked like Fat Thor.
He did kind of look like Fat Thor.
A little bit, yeah. Like, it blows my mind that he still died when he was 27. Like, he looked like
he looked old.
Yeah.
He looked old.
So...
Then, whenever it's like he died at 27, it's like, he looked 35.
At least.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? He had to have punished his body so badly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, granted, it is Val Kilmer, and he probably, like, was 35.
Well, yeah.
When they shot it.
Well, I mean, like, actual pictures, like, he's still, like, he looked old.
Oh, yeah. From years of that. I was going to say, like, we're 27. We don't look like that.
I'm not.
But you don't look like that either.
Do you think that Val Kilmer transformed his body a la Christian Bale for the movie? Because at the beginning of the film, he was like incredibly thin and fit.
Oh yeah,
and then whenever he's like near the end of Jim Morrison's life, he packed on pounds.
Like on the plane, he literally, they're talking about him being like kind of out of shape or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They call him fat, but he's not really fat.
No. Do you think that he actually put on the weight? Or
yeah.
It was like a fat suit or something?
Yeah, that or he pushed his belly out.
Method actors will do whatever they possibly can to make the role believable. So I believe.
I immediately thought that. I was like, oh, they must have shot that later.
Yeah.
Because clearly he... But, in like... There's a concert scene right after that plane ride. I didn't really notice a gut on him at that point. Like, he had his shirt tucked in. He looked normal.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's probably shot separately, obviously. But, yeah, I don't know. He probably did, though.
Yeah, makes me wonder if Val Kilmer punished his body to the extent that Christian Bale has, because Christian Bale had to have shaved years off his life the way that he transforms his body for movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Well, steroid abuse. Well, not really abuse, but taking steroids, getting big to play Dick Cheney, emaciating himself to play the mechanic. I mean, like, that's shit you can't do to your body.
Is that the one where he's like super skinny?
Yeah, he had like a daily diet of like 3 crackers or something.
Oh my god!
Like I don't know, man.
Yeah, I can't do that.
No, you could never get me to be an actor simply because they'd be like, well, we need you to eat this bowl of rice and that's it for the week. Like. No, sorry.
I'm good.
Get someone else.
Just get cast in a Marvel movie, and then they'll hook you up with the best physical trainer ever.
See, that'll work, because I could eat whatever the hell I wanted, because they're just going to keep me in a gym and give me fat burners and all that shit.
Yeah.
And put you on steroids and just increase your metabolism, so I could go out and eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and still burn it off by the end of the night from going in there and taking all the shit that they're going to pump into me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot more to say. If you want a different perspective on Jim Morrison, you can watch this movie if you want.
It's Aaron brought it up earlier.
If you want,
it was very weirdly like stylized. It was like it like put you in a trip almost.
Yes,
like, that was.
I felt very much in some.
It was. Yeah. At some points, it was making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I was like, can we go back to a story? Like, because I just feel like the whole time everything's happening, I'm like, there's too much going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's almost like it was trying to be like Pink Floyd's The Wall, where like that is like they made a movie that was just the album, or like what was the one that we watched? It was like Fear and Glory or something like that. That animated one on Netflix. You remember Fury or
Sound
something?
and Fury or something like that.
Something like that. It's almost like it was like that, but then they're like, we got to throw in like story too.
But that was more action pieces that were taking place alongside the songs. Which made more sense.
Like I've never seen The Wall, but it's supposed to be really good, and it's supposed to have like an actual story. But I don't know. It seemed like it was almost like it was like towing the line. It wanted to be like an actual story, but it also wanted to be like an visual, visual album.
Yeah,
like it, or just like their entire discography, because it goes through like their entire
and obviously music. That part I loved. Like I loved all the concerts, and then even stuff behind the scenes.
I made a joke while we were watching it. I was like, they could only afford to get songs by the Doors for this movie. Like when he's walking down the beach, and I was like, what a weird choice to play that song. I was just thinking about it. Like you would think they would play something else from the era since they weren't together.
I think they did once or twice. I thought.
Yeah, I think they did too.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to say earlier. Maybe it was a thing of those times, but why is there so many damn cops at the concerts?
Yeah, like standing on stage with them.
Yeah, like
I think that was something that happened, because like we see in the movie a bunch of naked women just get up and start dancing on the stage, and they have to throw them off. I think that they've like transitioned that from police to just venue bouncers.
Yeah.
So yeah, but. Even like in Straight Outta Compton, like there's scenes of them performing and with like cops there.
Okay, yeah.
So, and that was like
same thing with like
late '80s
Marilyn Manson.
So, yeah, that was...
I didn't know if that was. You think I would know that because I like music a lot, but
that was one scene that was great where he's provoking the cops because they pepper sprayed him in the face, and the rest of the band's just like.
I didn't understand that cop's problem. Like,
he saw long hair and he said, "I'm going to spray this long hair in the face with mace." That's all it was. Again, the times.
Like, why was he backstage anyway? You know.
That's what I mean. What was he patrolling for?
Right. Like, yeah. So I didn't get that.
Who knows?
I was on Jim's side on that one.
Well, yeah, I imagine a lot of people were.
At that point, I was on his side, but absolutely nothing else. No.
I think that he was a brilliant guy.
Oh, yeah.
I think that he had a lot to say, and he got, like...
Oh, he said a lot.
He just got swept up in this bullshit of drugs and fame and became a monster of a person.
Even more so than what he already
was. I think it actually switched. Like, drugs were still a problem with him, but I think the drinking...
Oh, 100%.
Actually became...
Because he was just, like, solely with drugs at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then later, when he's famous, it shows him swigging champagne after waking up.
But, like,
drinking a bottle of brandy before bed. Like, it was...
Yeah.
You could... Well, and then he's probably also taking drugs on top of that, which is just fucking him up even more. So, like... Every single day is just a brand new hell for him. Not that I'm sympathizing with him, but every single day is just a brand new hell for him that he's got to try to control.
I mean, I guess probably. I don't know. I can barely drink one beer. But like, I'm sure once you get so deep, like you're just trying to bury the pain. Whatever, just bury whatever you're feeling even more.
And then as you do that, as time goes on, you cannot break that cycle on your own.
Yeah.
And once you get that deep, that's all you do, because that's all you know.
Yeah.
Because if you try to break it out yourself,
you'll die. You'll literally die.
You will die, but also if you try to, like, take a step back from it, the pain from that alone is just going to drive you to go even deeper into the bottle.
Right. Yeah. So
this has been our PSA on drugs and alcohol. If you need help, ask for help.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely don't condone a lot of what he did.
No.
But at the same time, like, he had problems.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Definitely.
Well, he had the souls of 7 Navajo inhabiting his own, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first.
Do you think that they moved to Pam?
Whenever he died, they jumped into her. And then she died 3 years later, and then all of their souls jumped into somebody else.
Into Patricia's kid.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I want to see the sequel.
So the ending...
Second door.
Like, I didn't rewind it, because I was... At that point, I don't know. I was like, okay, good, it's over. Like, when he's in the bathtub, Pam sees a person. Was that an Indian?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Because I was like...
Wait, I don't remember.
She sees, like, this person going down the hall. That's what makes her go down the hall.
Mm.
And I was like...
Sure that's...
Oh, okay.
At first, I thought Jim had, like, shaved his head because it was, like, a bald guy.
It was probably the Navajo guy.
Yeah.
Was he naked? Because that will tell us.
Completely.
Oh, well then it was. Because there's the naked bald Indian man riding the horse.
Oh, okay.
So yes, it probably was him.
I think I was...
And he was riding a pale white horse. He's deaf. Okay. He's deaf.
Yeah.
That's it.
We cracked this unsolvable puzzle.
Oliver Stone, you thought you were slick.
Okay, so yeah.
So yes, it definitely was deaf.
Alright.
I think that's about it.
Not every movie's a winner.
Wow. That cracking that code just made that movie even better for me.
We kind of wish I would have rented this instead of bought it.
Do we want to rate?
I guess.
Right.
You first.
Wow. I mean, like, I didn't completely hate it. Because there was good stuff, like most of the band stuff, music. Like, that part of the ride was fun. So I'm going to go, like, 4 out of 10.
Alright.
Actually, 5 out of 10, just because Val Kilmer was pretty good.
Yeah. I'll go 6 out of 10, because I really liked the style, like some of the stylist choices that they did. Val Kilmer was obviously excellent in the movie. The music was great, and I guess just to learn more about the Doors, because I really have no idea about them. So
it's always
we still don't.
True.
True. I guess I didn't start the episode with that. I just always liked the Doors. Like, the piano is like their key sound, you know, or the organ, whatever.
I did like that part. We didn't touch on it, but whenever I forget his name.
Ray.
Yeah, he's not Billy Zane, by the way.
I know.
Oh, okay. I thought that, like, Josh, I was like, okay, I believe that. Whenever they left, like, the beach house or whatever that they were recording, and he's like, I gotta do the intro and everything, and, like, he was, like, working on, and then it cuts to them playing, and you hear the intro, and I'm like, that's amazing.
He's like, come back, I got it, I got it. And then it cuts to them doing their first show.
Yeah.
And that intro is iconic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just always like the sound of the Doors.
Oh, I do too.
Their messaging is pretty good too.
I'm going to piggyback on Sean's as a 6. I think with a little bit more structure, this movie could have been something fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's missing key.
I mean, it was made in 91. I don't know if there was anything like that made back then.
No, yeah, this kind of was a Kickstarter for movies like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Which still
I know there's another one.
Rocket Man,
those types of movies. But the idea was there. The intentions were good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at some points, though, it just kind of falls flat. Because like we established, there is no protagonist to this movie whatsoever. You're not rooting for anybody. You're just watching the shit show happen.
Right.
So it's kind of like, there's nothing connecting you to any character per se. And I think that's something that's missing from it.
And there's honestly not really a payoff at the end. Because,
And nobody is really, like, humanized in the movie.
Right.
Jim is not humanized at all. Like, he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Nobody else is really given enough time to establish a character for people to connect to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real driving force as far as the audience connecting with a character in this movie. And I think that's where it falls flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is great. Val Kilmer's great as Jim Morrison. The visuals and everything are they're very artistic. I appreciate the choices that Oliver Stone and probably Val Kilmer made with all of it.
Yeah.
But it just does not... I have no connection to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I watched it and I was like, that was a movie. Like, and that's kind of how I just walked away.
That was 2.5 hours.
Which I was like, I still like the Doors music. I don't like Jim Morrison. Like, that was it.
It's always good to separate the art from the artist.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely my perspective going forward. Is the art is great. Like,
the person,
literally great.
Not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have liked it if the movie, like, at the end, maybe not to drag it on even more, but, like, I feel like they should have did something showing off, like, what the band did post
his
Jim.
Death. Yeah. If
they didn't really make music, but I know they've done a few shows here and there where, like, they had other people come in. They did one show specifically, like, they had Scott Stapp from Creed, who kills on vocals. Like, he sounds just like Jim, honestly. And then, like, Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots, guy from Pearl Jam, can't remember his name right now. Jeremy something. Is that his name? I don't know. That's one of their songs, Jeremy. Anyway.
Oh, Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder, yes.
Vedder. Yeah, because my dad calls me Eddie Vedder every time I wear a flannel.
Okay.
Yeah, so how could I possibly forget?
I see it.
I hate it.
Shout out there. It's Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of the greatest bands ever.
God, I hope he doesn't watch this one. You're going to hear a knock on your door.
We got to make the Red Hot Chili Peppers biopic.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would really just
chap his ass.
What are you working on, son?
You don't want to know. No, I want to... No, you don't want to know.
No.
Well, there you have it. That was our discussion about The Doors. We have another recommendation coming our way. via Aaron, if you were prepared this time.
Yeah, I do. I have two in mind. What are you guys feeling? You feeling an action comedy or action drama?
Comedy.
Comedy? All right, we're going to watch The Nice Guys.
Okay.
I've never seen The Nice Guys.
I love this movie.
It's good.
It's very good.
So always wanted to.
We're going to watch The Nice Guys starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Directed by Shane Black.
All right. If you don't want to be spoiled for The Nice Guys, make sure to watch before next episode. Thank you for watching or listening, guys. We enjoyed talking about The Doors. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Break on through to the other side.